In 1939, John Steinbeck released his eventual Pulitzer Prize winning book, The Grapes of Wrath. If you don't recall much from your high school English class, it's set during the destitution of the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression, following a family moving westward from Oklahoma to California. There, the book portrays the harsh realities of exploitation by corporate farming and the violent reprisal of unified labor. All this through the tragic life of the Jodes, a poor family of tenement farmers. Now, it's the second harvest from Revelation chapter 14, our text for today, and maybe a week or two to come, from which Steinbeck's wife first suggested the title. Listen for yourselves, picking up with verse 17. Another angel came out of the temple in heaven, and he too had a sharp sickle. Still another angel who had charge of the fire came from the altar and called in a loud voice to him who had the sharp sickle. Take your sharp sickle and gather the clusters of grapes from the earth's vine, because its grapes are ripe. The angel swung his sickle on the earth, gathered its grapes, and threw them into the great winepress of God's wrath. They were trampled in the winepress outside the city, and blood flowed out of the winepress, rising as high as the horse's bridle for a distance of 1,600 stadia. It's obvious enough to us, this portion of John's vision is not about the relationship between owners and labor. But I'm not convinced the true meaning of this text is as clear as we might think either. In her defense, Carol Steinbeck's suggestion for the title might have been influenced by the Battle Hymn of the Republic, which famously takes this passage to speak of sinners being trod out in judgment by an angry God. But again, I'm not entirely convinced. Let's start by looking at the parallels between the harvest of grapes with the former harvest of grain. Now, there's obvious parallels in the sharp sickles. Additionally, there's verse 18 regarding the angel in charge of the fire coming from the altar, which are things located in the temple. Meaning what we have in 18 is an angel coming out of the temple, calling out in a loud voice, just as we saw in verse 15. Add to that, in both cases, verses 15 and 18, the crop to be harvested is said to be ripe. They're virtually identical apart from the one performing the harvest. Now, based on the parallelism, what I've said previously about the grain harvest could equally apply to the grape. I mean, if reaping of the grain is about salvation, then reaping of the grape is also about salvation, correct? Not so fast. Certainly the grapes being thrown into the winepress of God's wrath aren't salvific, are they? I mean, it seems a clear echo to Joel 3:13, which states, "Swing the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, trample the grapes, for the winepress is full, and the vats overflow, so great is their wickedness." Isn't that how we're to read the passage at hand? And perhaps we might consider the prophet Isaiah's words from Isaiah 63, which asks, "Who is this coming from Edom, from Bozrah with his garment stained crimson? Who is this robed in splendor, striding forward in the greatness of his strength? It is I, proclaiming victory, mighty to save. Why are your garments red like those of one treading the winepress? I have treaded the winepress alone. From the nations, no one was with me. I trampled them in my anger and trod them down in my wrath. Their blood spattered my garments, and I stained all my clothing." A case closed, right? Isaiah 63 would suggest it's Jesus who does the trampling. A fact apparently substantiated by Jesus showing up in Revelation 19, donning a robe dipped in blood before the fight begins. How did he get so bloody? The winepress. Except Houston, we've got a problem. We're not told that it's Jesus who treads the winepress. Clearly, Jesus reaps the grain, But it doesn't say that he treads the winepress. We would assume it's the angel who does the treading. Apparently, it's Jesus is out of the picture at this point. Or is he? We'll pick up here next time.